Good morning, YouTuber subscribers and friends and the like. It's Grant Travels, the Grant Adventures, and Airplane 312 coming at you today.
Hey everyone.
Uh, we wanted to make a video about my experiences going down to Billings to get the CCW class done. So, should I talk about the hotel the first night?
Yes, you might as well.
Yeah. So well, it's technically the second night that I stayed there. The first night, the morning of, the housekeeper just went past the electric deadbolt and came into my room, and I know that for a fact because the towel that I put by the door to kind of scuffle the sound from the hallway, so you don't have to hear the hallway sounds, was propped all the way open from the door being pushed open past the electric bolt. So I went up and complained to the desk. I said, what's the point of having a deadbolt if you can electrically get by it? So she just gave me a do not disturb sign, and I was going to let that hotel get away with just that, no big deal. Then they couldn't get the air conditioning going. It turns out there's a jury-rigged light switch on the wall by the wall heater thingy, and my guess is they have the fuse box or whatever, the one fuse running both the AC system and the floorboard heater. And the idea is to switch one or the other on or off so they can't both be running at the same time to save money or whatever, so the housekeeper had to do that. I let them get off with both of that, and then that evening, everything was nice and quiet. And about midnight or so, this family with a kid checked in right above me, and the kid is jumping up and off the bed. I mean, it's unreasonable stuff. It's not like I was just being mad that I was underneath, on the ground floor beneath them. You could tell the kid was jumping off the bed onto the floor and screaming and everything. And I knew the night auditor from the night before, so I knew he wasn't going to do anything about it. So I didn't last one day. I went and loaded up, got my clothes up, my concealed stuff together so I could carry the gun concealed so nobody saw it. But I went up there to confront him, not with an intention to use it or anything. But I went up there kind of like pretending to be the night auditor, so to speak, but I made him know it was like I was a guest. Knocked on. Well, I was gonna let that go, but 20 minutes. So I backed it up. I heard the noises in the room. And this is before I got my clothes on and get ready to go. I tried to throw a pop bottle up at the ceiling a couple times to kind of let them know, hey, I'm down here below you. What's going on, right? They didn't hear that. So I had to climb up on the bathroom sink and bang on the ceiling, and that quit. Once they heard that, they quit for like 20 minutes. I get all nice and back to bed, about to sleep, and then literally a piano keyboard type of thing start playing. And I'm not talking quiet, like louder than hell, just like if they're at home, like they didn't care. Just playing away music. And that's what ticked me off. And so I got all dressed up in my concealed carry stuff, went up there with my gun just in case that guy were to come out the room all mad about it or something. I wasn't planning on using nothing. But I found the right door that was making the piano noise, and sure enough, it was 224, and I was in 124. This was at Econo Lodge in Billings. I knocked on the door. The guy answered the door, kind of surprised that I was even there, and I said, really? A keyboard thing at 12:30 at night? Really? There's other people trying to sleep here.
12:30 in the morning, actually.
Well, yeah. But that's why I told him it was at night. But yeah, it was in the morning, technically, if you want to get literal about it. But I said, there's other people trying to sleep here. You don't think of anybody else but yourself? And the guy didn't even say nothing, didn't say sorry, nothing. He just turned ghost white, like, oh my God, I forgot. The look on his face was like, oh my God, I forgot other people exist. And he didn't say anything. But he's scared to death of me. I don't know, and I didn't even show him the gun or nothing. But and maybe I was just pissed off looking. I don't know. But anyway, that's the first day I went concealed carrying a gun. I already became the aggressor, so to speak. And I just make that point to say that once you start carrying, you have to realize you have to not be that aggressor. Just because you have it on you, it gives you the confidence to do it. But that's what gets you into situations, and then the minute you go down the story with the cops or whoever of what all happened, and you start saying, I approached that room, I did this, I did that, the guy came out of the room and shot me, and so I shot back and whatnot. From the beginning, I was the aggressor, so I would not count as self-defense, because I'm the one who came up there and started it. Well, he technically did, but with noise.
But the thing is, for the deadbolt deal for the hotel and stuff, there has to be a bypass anyways. You can understand that, because in case of emergency, they have to have immediately the thing to override and open.
Yeah, it's just the thing is that they should have, a lot of hotels have a key. When the housekeeper's regular key swipes it, it'll tell them if the room is occupied or not. And she should have noticed that the deadbolt was on and occupied and it was an emergency situation. She should have left it. You know, that was a housekeeper boo-boo there more than the key.
Because how else can that deadbolt be bolted if someone's in there?
Yeah.
You can't automatically climb through the window, go all the way down.
Right, so my guess is it gave her a light, but she didn't pay attention to it, that it was occupied, like the red and yellow light occupied. She just busted right in, you know, doing her routine. So I pointed it out to him for that reason, mainly so that she wouldn't just come busting in on people.
Even if it's an emergency and the guest is refusing to leave, usually the manager should be there. Say manager and then the housekeeper say housekeeper, or manager say,
Yeah.
please unlock the deadbolt or something.
And that same housekeeper was nice and came from like late in the afternoon about not being able to get the AC to work. She came in there to switch the wall light on, which I didn't know at the time. There was a wall light that switches it, because it was clear across opposite. It should be right next to the AC to let you know to switch it on and off. But anyway, she went in there to do that, but she asked me to go out in the hallway because I probably, you know, look intimidating or whatever. I did not think to grab my gun. If my gun was on the TV thing, wasn't out in plain sight. I had my coat over top of it. But when you want to talk about paranoid, having your gun there. And then she asked you to leave the room, and then I tried to keep the door open, obviously, because I wanted to make sure visually that she didn't pick my gun up or anything in there, any of my stuff in there, you know, because I hadn't planned on her coming in. And of course, it made her nervous, so the both of us we made it work, but I just kept the door open as she went and did her thing. And mostly she kind of wanted the door to shut so they could hide the fact that she had to go over there and switch the wall outlet on, instead of just telling me it's the wall outlet switch. Because that cheap Patel owner or whatever has it jury rigged, and it's probably against code to have that jury rigged the way he's got it. And so they don't want to show guests unless they have to, kind of deal. And she went in there and quickly went around the wall and flipped the light on and went over there and turned the AC on and said, there you go.
What they should do is have a circuit breaker that they could switch all the air conditioning units off.
Yeah, the correct way to do it would be its own switch instead of that jury rig deal that they did, is to make sure they don't have one or the other on. That's a cheap wrist wiring thing, and I'm pretty sure it's not up to code. And that's partially why she wasn't showing people, because the right person who knows what they're looking at would be like, that's not up to code, and would get them in trouble. But that was the interesting couple days, the day and a half that I had before that. And I just bring that up because I was the aggressor that night, and I unintentionally already the first day left my gun unattended. Technically, I was within 10 feet of it, but the thought goes, when I'm at the front of the door, she's closer to it than I am, if she were to see it or anything, you know. So I made the first 2 boo-boos already in one day. Not to be the aggressor, and never ever leave your gun unattended anywhere. Doesn't matter if it's a hotel room.
Even if he doesn't have a gun and stuff, he would still have been an aggressor either way.
Yeah, well, yeah, either
so
way.
So you would have to put apples to oranges and stuff.
Yeah, but in terms of defending yourself with a gun, if you are found out to be the aggressor at that situation, self-defense goes right out the window, because you were the one who started it. So because I went up there and confronted him by myself without getting hotel staff involved or anything else like that, if he would have pulled a gun or something, I could have defended myself, yeah. But if they find out the real story, what happened, I showed up at his door, then I'm the one in trouble. He's the one in his house, so to speak, on Castle Doctrine, because he had that room rented. So I made a boo-boo right there. I made 2 boo-boos in one day. It wasn't a big deal. My gun was covered, so she didn't see it. She didn't know it was there. But, you know, the paranoia gets to you that that's a fully loaded gun right there between you and her. And anything can happen. She grabs at it. I'm not getting it back until after the cops are involved. And I made the mistake of letting her in the room without already being prepared and having my gun on me before answering the door, because she knocked on the door. But it was so hot in the room, I had the door propped open with a towel, because, you know, waiting on them to come fix the AC problem. I didn't have the door secured. I was right there with my gun close to my gun, so I wasn't worried about it then. But then I got right up and went to answer the door without grabbing the gun first, and I should have done that. But I'm learning as I go, you know. I should have known that better anyway, but I'm pointing it out for everybody else. It's very easy to leave your gun unattended if you're not. You should stick to the rule of either put it in a case when it's not on you, or have it on you, period. One or the other, when you're out and about in public. because anything like that can come up in the 5 seconds when I wasn't expecting it. But that should be enough for this video, is to point those two things out, and then we'll start the next one.
You want to talk about the range deal?
I'm gonna do that on its own video because
Alright.
it's a pretty long one.
Alright, talk to you guys later. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on
Flip.